Hey everyone, it's Julie Boye here. I am super excited to welcome a very special guest today. Welcome, Duette.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm really glad we've had this time to connect on this video conference. Duette and I actually met through a beautiful organization I've mentioned a few times, Mompreneur. And she is the founder of Sendcerely Duette, which is a business that's founded on showing your appreciation for others. We both are really passionate about sharing gratitude and expressing gratitude in our lives. She is also an RN. She's a mom. She's a wife. I don't actually know how she balances it all, but she does an amazing job. She's a very gifted speaker. I've heard her speak a few times through our Mompreneur organization. And she was actually a Mompreneur Award of Merit winner a few years ago for her business, Sendcerely Duette, with Send Out Cards. So Duette, I am so excited to hear from you today, and I would love to hear a little bit about your story. I've kind of given some highlights, but could you share a little bit about how you kind of got to where you are today?
Well, for sure. And thanks so much for having me here, Julie. Okay, well, where do I start? Whew, this has been quite the journey. Short version is that a while back, I've always been very entrepreneur. I've loved business, and actually, as a young teen, I've been exposed to business, and I used to even hang out with people who own their own business, and they kind of I guess in a sense I shadowed them and had some mentorship that way.
Cool.
Um, and I just loved what business, like being an entrepreneur and running your own business could do for you. Um, my husband and I, we had our kids young. I was 20 when I had my daughter, and at that point, I thought, you know what, I better go back to school and get a secure job, something that's secure and financially. And so I
Sure.
went back to school, and I got my university degree in nursing. And I've always actually too, as a young little girl, I've always loved nursing too. And my whole family comes from a medical background. And so nursing just seemed like a right fit because I love helping people. I love creating joy, and I just love loving on people. So nursing was great. And I thought when I got into that profession, I was going to change the world. So I worked, so I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, who's now 21. And then I actually had another baby during nursing school. And then when I was graduating with my degree, I was pregnant, getting my degree certificate with my third child. So trust me, I worked really hard to do that. And so I was working full time, I was working overtime, and I had these three young kids at home. So during my nursing profession, I was getting really burnt out, like
Yeah.
really burnt out. And the funny thing is, as nurses, we're supposed to care and promote, health promotion and taking care of yourself. And I almost felt like I was a little bit like not really living up to those standards. There came a point in my career where I was actually off work for about 2.5 years from some injuries from work,
Wow.
and just things just not listening to my body when I should have and letting things go. And I thought I was just going to be off for a week and I'll be back to work. And then a month went by, and then a year, and then 2 years. So during that 2.5 years, I had a lot of reflection, and it actually brought me back to the beginning of when I really, before I started nursing, my value was always about like putting my spiritual life first, family second, and then career third. And I really had all that mixed up. I was really putting always my career first. And so during that time, I realized I was missing out on a lot with my kids. I wasn't feeling good spiritually, physically, mentally, everything. I was exhausted, and I needed a change. During my nursing career, I was actually introduced to the company Send Out Cards, where I founded Sendcerely Duette, and I was, just working that business very casually on the side. I actually loved the product so much that I actually just wanted to be part of the business so I could get my product for free. My business took a life of its own, and I was making some, really great income with that. And I actually didn't even need to spend that income. I would actually just put it in a bank account and I just watch it grow. And I was actually making a game out of watching how much money was growing in this little nest. But I'm telling you, when I was off work for those 2.5 years, it just, and my husband was actually off too during the same time from a car accident. We lost like more than half of our income. And I was so happy that I was able to fall back on that little nest that I had created.
Wow.
And once again, I had lots of reflection, and I thought to myself, wow, I'm not showing up at my nursing job. I'm not getting paid. And like, this sucks. Like, I went into this profession for the security.
Yeah.
And so then I realized back then that, one, I wanted to create and design a life on my own terms. So that's why I thought I'm going to spend a little bit more time building my business so that I can have more self-love and self-care for myself, show up for myself first, because I really believe if we're not showing up for ourselves first, then we can't really give to others, right? And as a nurse, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, whatever, it's so important to put yourself first. And a lot of the times we think it's selfish, but it's a real must, right? And so I decided to build my business a little bit more so I could have that time freedom and that flexibility. And now I work part-time, very part-time. I still love nursing, and I'm still doing that job and building my business. But now I'm able to wake up in the morning, go for my walks, do my journaling. I can take the kids to school, and I'm just putting everything. I'm basically just putting myself first so that I can pour into others, right? And it's been amazing. At first, it's scary because you think we have to do this, or we have to, burn ourselves out, but it's not. I realized doing actually less, I'm actually able to create more.
Oh, there's so many great things that you've shared from your story alone. The way that you've been able to help people, just with your story, I think is already a great start to our conversation. I think, you're one of many women that I've interviewed that had a shift in career due to a burnout. And from a burnout from a career that they chose because they loved. And how heartbreaking is that when you choose something you love and you're passionate about, but yet because there's no one's teaching you self-love or self-care, you forget that if you don't take care of yourself first, that everything else falls apart. And you came to that realization, and luckily you were able to turn it around. But 2.5 years is a long time to, that's a long time to be off of a job. And also, thank goodness you had built a little bit of a plan B to help you through that. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about what it's like. Now you're working part-time, people can see that. I'm really curious if that, if you see now that you're affecting in a positive way the people around you, like in terms of they see you making a change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Most importantly, I want to set a positive example for my kids. And oh man, I always say to people, you don't know how sick you were until you feel better. And I just can't believe I actually survived that period of my life. And I just don't want to get back to that period of my life, because I don't feel like I was showing up for my kids. I wasn't showing up for my husband, and even my job. Like, what I mean? Yeah. If I have that job, I'm supposed to show up, and, they hired me for that reason, and I want to show up better in life. Yep. And I do see, it's hard though, because the fact that I choose this way of like taking care of myself first, sometimes it's hard for people, to be honest, because some people think, well, why can't you do that? Like, it's just, why can't we get together? Or why can't you do that? And sometimes people don't understand that. What am I trying to get at here? Basically, yeah. I know that sometimes when I put my needs first,
yes,
and like I said, it's not being selfish. Sometimes people or family members don't understand. Yeah. Right. But it's important, because I think as time goes on, they actually get it. They see the shift. I'm in better mood. My health is better. I'm showing up more. So I think sometimes it takes a while for people to really get on board with that kind of thinking. But then once they do,
it makes more sense. Yeah. But I do think what you're saying is so true, is we are shifting as a society, which I think is really good. When Ariana Huffington wrote a book about sleep because she had, passed out at work and caused herself a concussion from hitting her head on her desk because of lack of sleep, like that woke people up to say, like, this lifestyle. And it's true. It's a very short period in our existence as a species to have this like crazy packed lifestyle where our priorities are totally upside down. And it's like taking care of yourself is no longer important. but that has to be number one. And what you're saying about saying no to things, it's hard. I feel that. And I'm traveling a lot. During this time, I'm traveling for my business. And I made a commitment to myself that when I get back if I've traveled for a weekend, I get back, the Monday is a day off. I'm not going to book anything. And I had 3 events come up that would be right after 2 of my trips. And I really want to go to these events. Like, these are with people that I want to spend time with. Like, I'd love to be there. I want to support them. And it was really not easy to say, I'm sorry, but I made a commitment. I'm traveling all weekends. I'm taking the day off. I have to do that for myself. And it's like you said, some people are actually starting to really understand that saying no is part of self-love, because the more we push, then we burn out, and then we're forced into taking time off. And like you said, you thought it was going to be a week and it turned into 2.5 years, which,
Yes.
I mean, in the end, it gave you so many gifts.
Yeah.
But of course,
absolutely.
Would you repeat that? No.
Yes. And I agree. I learned so much over that time, and I really actually believe it was a gift. And it's helped me create certain habits and certain things that I do on a daily basis too, right? Just to make that change so I don't ever go back to that again.
That's amazing. And you talked a little bit about some of the self-care practices that you're doing on a daily basis. So what does it look like if I took kind of a week out of your life? What kind of things are you doing that focus on self-love and self-care for you?
So every single day, I try to move my body at least 30 minutes a day. I'll go to the YMCA. They have an outdoor track. So while the weather is nice like this, still, it's beautiful. So I'll go out and I'll do the track for at least minimum 30 minutes. And it's just a light walk. I'll listen to a podcast or a book, audiobook while I'm walking. I like to get up in the morning a little bit early and journal. One of my favorite things to do, though, is I actually created a little space on my patio, and it's just a little table, and it has 2 chairs, and it's just, beautifully set up. And I actually like to go out there with my cup of tea or coffee and a journal or a book, and I just sit there. I call it Tea Time Cafe, even though it's just like right on my patio. But when I'm out there, it's funny because now that I've created that space, and when I'm out there, like for instance, my sister called me the other day, and I was outside in that space, and my husband's like, oh, I can't get her right now. She's in her happy place. So can I get her to call you back? So it's funny because like when my family knows I'm out there, they know, like, don't disturb mom. She's in her little space. She's needs her time. And but it's also fun too, because creating that space, I also like invite other women to come over, and I just sit there and I chat with them. And then I like to buy these cute little like teacups, and then I gift that teacup to them so that they can take home. And I say, you know what, this little space that I've created for myself, it's like magic. So I encourage you to go home and find a space, whether it's your closet, whether it's a corner in your room, whether it's outdoor like I've done, or just find a space where you can just go and escape and nobody can bother you. So that's my favorite thing.
I love that. I actually haven't heard anyone share anything like that in all these interviews I've done. What an amazing idea. So you created a space for yourself where your family knows this is your sacred space. This is where you go to be with yourself, and which is a huge act of self-love, right? Mm-hmm. Reading a book to me is actually about self-love, because I love to read a book. And how many times are we like trying to squeeze that in when reading a book is actually such a gift to ourselves. But you took that one step further, and you've actually made it into a practice of self-love that you share with others.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really, really beautiful. So, maybe those that are listening or watching can't do the exact same thing as you, but wow, what a gift to create their own space and then be able to share with others. But maybe they have a self-love practice that they can also gift to others in another way. So you talk about space. For me, I live in a home where I share a home with my parents, and my family, we live on the upper floor. They live on the main floor, and 4 of us are home all day because I work from home. My daughter is homeschooled. My dad still works from home. My mom's retired. So we're all here. So for me, my space is actually it is at the beach. I do leave the house, but I'm so lucky that I live so close to my closest beach is a 4-minute drive.
Nice.
And that's what I do. And my family also knows, like, I used to like kind of ask for permission to go to the beach. And now I'm just like, I'm going. And they're like, yep, go. Cause they know, like your family knows, I'm going for me because I need to reset myself. And sometimes I'm already in a good mood when I go, but sometimes, you know, you go because you need to shift your mood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to hear a little bit more about this beautiful business you have that's based around gratitude. Can you share that with me?
Sure. So basically, it's a greeting card company that basically just allows, you know, whether you're in business, whether just you personally. So for me, how I also self-love and just and sharing gratitude is I use this product to actually wake up every single day. I get on my phone because basically it's just an app on your phone that allows you to send out a greeting card to somebody right in the mail to their mail, right to their mailbox.
Yeah, like
So
a physical real card, which is
yeah,
awesome.
real card. So I actually, that's another part of my morning practice. I get up and the first person that comes to my mind, I just send them a quick like, hey, you know what? I was just thinking about you. You know, let's get together for coffee or just anything that just like resonates with the message. And I just put it in a card. It takes me literally less than 5 minutes. I press send and then it shows up in their mailbox like within the week. Right. And so and it's funny because sometimes I forget when I send these cards and I get all these messages like, oh my God, thank you so much for the card. It came out the right day and I really needed to hear that message. And so for me, it's just about sending out gratitude. One of my main goals in life is to build relationships and to create joy, right? And to really inspire people. So whatever way I can do that, and using send out cards has helped me to kind of fulfill that mission. And yeah.
That's actually a really beautiful way to use send out cards. I've known the company for a long time. I love the fact that it offers people a way to share their gratitude and appreciation, and that it's built on that. But the suggestion that you're saying, you literally, as part of your morning practice, you're sending a card from your phone to someone that you love and care about, and you're just wanting to connect with them. I think it's a really beautiful way to use that, because often we think of this kind of business as something when you're using gratitude, you know, for your clients or your customers, which is also super important. But the fact that you use it as a part of your morning practice and ritual, it's so beautiful because you're doing something actually for you, right? You're sharing your joy. And then someone else, like a week later, gets this beautiful message that you'd forgotten you sent. So what a great way to share gratitude every day.
Yeah,
I adore that. So as we kind of wrap things up, I would love to hear if you could inspire people to make one change today. So whether it's creating a new habit or stop doing something or starting something new, what would that be for you?
Honestly, it really is just start. Like just start. Like okay, so for instance, like, you know, I've been telling you I've been walking like minimum 30 minutes a day. To be honest, because I do have a lot of like chronic pain and stuff from the injuries from work and car accidents and stuff. So my physical activity was very limited, but I know it's so important to move my body. So when I first got out there, I literally was just out there for 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm just gonna put my shoes on and stand outside and breathe in the air. And then once I was out there, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can just walk to the mailbox and back. And then you know, and then that turned into a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. I didn't really have like really high expectations of like, I'm going to get outside and run 10K today. I'm just going to do a little bit, and all that little bit is going to compound into something bigger, right? So I really think when you want to make change, or when you're looking for a daily practice, it's just doing something super small. And because those small little things add up to big results. And so just start somewhere. And
just put your shoes on
consistently,
right? Just put your shoes on.
Put your shoes on and get going. That's right.
But I love that you could walk to the mailbox. If you don't have access to the app yet, you could write a card and walk to the mailbox.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Right?
Why not? Actually, it is something that I did for a really long time. Is I would write a card and I would walk to the mailbox as part of my practice, like to make sure I got out every day. I would like walk to the mailbox. So there are, I love that. It's just put your shoes on, and that can be a metaphor for whatever you want, but it can be for, I know one of the reasons I wanted to connect with you today too, is you have had a beautiful, healthy lifestyle shift. You said in the past month, has it been since you started this practice? So
yes, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
The physical practice. Yes.
physical practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And you don't see it on day 1 or day 2 or day 3, but by the end of 30 days, you do see a difference. And I love that. So your wonderful tip of just putting the shoes on, doing one little thing.
Just do it.
Yes, just do it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Where do people find you? Where do they connect with you?
You can just connect with me on Facebook, Duette Anderson, or Instagram, Duette Anderson, or my Facebook business page is Sendcerely Duette,
Okay.
or you can just email me at duetteanderson.com. Duette is spelled Duette.
And we will post all those links when the video is posted. And if you're listening to the audio, same thing. You'll be able to find all those links directly so you can connect with Duette. I have loved our time together. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And yeah, I'm excited to share your story.
All right. Thanks so much, Julie. Thanks for having me.